Awe Masterkunners, and welcome back fellow Zam Jammers. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be about the key to breakthrough. Now, it's not a recipe that you can just implement every single time and you will get breakthrough, but I am going to be sharing at least 3 different testimonies of how I really experienced breakthrough, like very soon after I went through some form of surrender. So stay tuned for that.
Please. What?
Away guys, so yeah, thank you that you're here watching this video. Shout out to every single person watching this video right now. I want to address this. I'm wearing headphones because there's a microphone on here and it's awesome. I will make a plan in the future for a better quality second device to record audio, but for now this is what we've got, and I think sound quality is important, so yeah. But without further ado, let's get on into the video, what we're here to talk about. So I'm gonna go through a few testimonies right now, and then afterwards I'll just reflect on how I feel surrender was the underlying theme within all of those testimonies that was what got me my breakthrough, and basically allowed for the Lord to release in my life. So the first one, I'm going to go back a few years to say 2017. I don't know who's been with me on this YouTube channel since I started, but back then when I started my channel and interviewed students at the Feast Must Fall protests, things got crazy and we started a movement called Open NMU, and like that page at the end of the day had a lot of reach. Like in a few weeks it got 2,000 likes on Facebook, and in one given week we could reach 80,000 people. It was insane. It was really crazy. And yeah, I felt like God was the one who ordained all of those things and the people coming together, and I felt very much that whatever we did should be by Him and not against what He said. So yeah, we carried on, and I felt like a founding value of that movement was coming in the opposite spirit, where students were coming in one spirit, like we should come in an opposite spirit of peace, because we wanted to see peaceful resolution on campus. Anyways, after 2016 and ended in 2017 went on and the university was open and all of that, there started becoming conflict, and people wanted to use the page to point out the problems with the management at the university, and I felt a lot of other people do that already, and that it wasn't coming in the opposite spirit anymore. And also Romans talks about how all leadership figures are placed there for a reason, and it's not really for us to disrespect them almost, or to point out, what they're doing is wrong. So like there was some sort of conflict, and I also at about that point in time got a prophetic verse from one of my friends. She said she didn't know what it was for exactly, but it was basically bring your full harvest to the Lord, and basically He will unleash or overflow. He will unleash His blessing from heaven, and it was flood and pour and words like that. And what Ezekiel is in Ezekiel. I'll put the exact verse in the description. I'll even pop up text. Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to pop up text now. I need to upload this video today. So yeah, basically it was that, and you can see the verse in the description below, exactly what it says. I didn't understand it at that point in time because I was like, yeah, give your full tithe unto the Lord. I didn't really understand because I was already giving my tithe to the church. So after a while, I realized this whole thing with Open NMU was taking up a lot of my time, and I thought about it, and time was probably my most valuable resource. So it got to the point where I felt like the Lord was saying that I should give this up, and I didn't want to. I was like the only admin on the Facebook page, and ultimately I was like, I got this. This is influence. But I remember being challenged in my mind, like, is this, if you're not willing to give this up, like, how are you going to expect God to give you bigger things? And I was just like, okay. So there came an afternoon when I decided, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And for you to get context of where we were in Port Elizabeth, there had been a drought in Port Elizabeth for like months, and it hadn't rained for a very long time, and people were praying for rain. So yeah, it came an afternoon where I felt, it's time to do this. I sent a message on the group saying that I'll be stepping down, and I passed admin on to someone else. And as I did that, right, I changed the Facebook admin roles, and like minutes later, it started pelting down with rain, and I knew it because I was in a house with a tin roof, and that was insane. It was just like the drought was broken. It was an awesome story, and I feel like surrender was the key to that. Surrendering up this page, my values, to want to hold on to this and just giving it to God, and looking at where I am now, CreateZA with teams operating around the country, and I feel that we directly we build relationships with people outside of that, even ministry, like directly for God. I mean, even in our Instagram bio, we're not scum about it. It's for the creators by the creator, and I feel very much that God has ordained this thing with CreateZA. So that's one testimony. Another testimony with the work where I am right now, which is going to be my next video, where I am working at the moment. At the end of last year, I had applied to come and work here at this company. I felt like that was what God was laying on my heart. So I applied, sent the email, and yeah, the year was drawing to an end, and I didn't know what I was going to be doing in January. I really needed a job by January because the funds that I had from my previous job were going to expire. So it wasn't too comfortable, but I mean, it did grow me in my faith. And there was a day just before I left Pretoria last year when I was going to go visit my family, thinking, gee, I don't know if I'm going to get this job or not. I walked around Pretoria and I prayed. And I remember explicitly saying, God, I surrender up my heart to you, and everything that I have, I surrender it to you. I know this job is what I want, but it might not be what you want. So I'm putting it in your hands, and let happen what must happen. The very next day, my current boss, sent me a message saying, you start on the 9th of Jan, this is your salary, cool. And I was like, what? That's crazy. Another thing of surrender, basically surrendering up my heart and my desires and letting God do his thing with that. Another testimony. So last year I was like, it's time to like start looking for a girlfriend kind of thing. Even though I felt like I should only start looking this year, I got on Tinder, okay? I got on Tinder. And I don't know, I swiped and made some matches and all of that. I met a few of the girls and it was cool, but none of them were really of the... I don't believe they were the ones who God had planned for me, if I have to put it like that. And it got to a point when I realized I was just looking for attention, and not really because I was ready to be in a relationship. So what I did was I deleted Tinder, and the very next day, some really beautiful, really in love with God, really leadership-orientated person started commenting on my YouTube videos and saying that they were really inspired by what I did. And I was like, okay, so I went and checked their comments and saw their profile picture. I was like, this person might have a YouTube channel. And I saw, and they had just started their YouTube channel, and it was really just an opportunity to see the quality of this person. And I realized, but this person is like, they're serious, they're spiritually mature, they're beautiful, like they've got a level head and a bunch of things. And from there I reached out to her and we started vibing. Vibing, for those of you who don't know, vibing is like when there's some sort of mutual interest. And I realized, I surrendered up my want to take my relationship life into my own hands and just gave it back to God. And very shortly after that, I saw the quality of the person that he might have planned for me. I'm not saying that it's her. It might be her. It might be someone else of that caliber, if I have to put it like that. But just another story of how surrender translated to breakthrough. And then lastly, I've got one more awesome one. I was with my cousin this holiday, my family, in fact, in Kenton. And while I was there, my cousin went on a bike trip and he had an accident. And this bike that he was planning to sell to raise his last finances for going to France to go and work in France, he crashed his bike and the engine was shredded. Not the engine, the petrol tank. And he couldn't sell it anymore for the price that he had hoped. And that was a big setback for him. So I shared with him this thing of, surrender before breakthrough, and I asked if we could pray together, and we prayed and surrendered up his heart. Like, I'm not even joking. The very next morning, he checked his bank account, and 5K more than what the bike was, what he was planning to sell the bike for, is how much had been deposited into his bank account by people in whose eyes he had gained favor, and they just felt the Lord said they must bless him with this. And that was just flippin' mind-blowing. So I want to encourage you guys, even this fast that I'm doing right now, it's symbolic of surrender. I'm surrendering up my meals, my time, and basically my want to be satisfied by food, because I want to rather be satisfied by what God has planned for me, and build my relationship with him. And I believe that's also one big reason why fasts normally lead to breakthrough. So I want to encourage you guys to surrender whichever area you're not sure of. If it's the person that you believe God has planned for you that you're waiting for, if it's work, if it's whatever it is. I've spoken on a few things with a few different themes. Finances, surrender it up to God. Maybe you really want something, but God has something better planned for you. Surrender it up and let's see what he does with it. So yeah, that's this video. I hope that it inspired you somewhat, and yeah, man, that's the end. I believe I've been speaking for a while, but yeah, tomorrow's video is going to be where I work at the moment. To tell you more about it, Nathan Watt, my friend, asked about it in the comments, so that's what my video tomorrow is going to be about. I'm also going to be at a wedding, so I'm going to record it right now with the same background for anyone who wants to know. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much. If you're not yet subscribed, please do subscribe, drop a like, and thank you for watching.